kids could listen to in the classroom. You just had a list of teachers, and you sent out a CD to, started sending out CDs to teachers.
Well, they can access it on our line, jonathangullible.com. They can find the script that's been used as skits in schools. We've also used it in language camps, Liberty Language Camp in Lithuania, in India. Other countries have used it as a tool for learning English, while at the same time in a very fun and enjoyable way learning about free markets and all that. So same thing can be used as skits in the classroom. And so I encourage it. We have a game, a kind of Jeopardy style game that we use. We have a desire to make it into a comic book version. We've got
wonderful. Yeah.
That would make a broader reach. And the people who make the Stossel and the classroom videotapes are preparing to distribute the book with their nationwide in their approach. So that'll probably be the best way to reach a lot of these teachers in schools.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's great. And Stossel as well has been wonderful in his specials that he's done, and he has as well an educational copies of them just for students. That go out to the teachers and are bought by educators. Those are very wonderful. So what's the next step for you? Is those are the next steps? Just continuing to expand?
Well, going into new languages is something we don't see so much visibly here, but it's having a very, very profound effect in other countries. Just now, the Kiswahili edition in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania has been adopted as a school reader. So it's in all the schools in Kenya.
Wonderful.
And we have a commentary edition, a UK commentary edition that was produced in South Africa for all the Commonwealth countries. And when we reach a new language group in India, it's easily twice the population size of the whole country of the United States. So the Hindi edition is coming out soon. We just published the Bengali edition. We're expecting translations in Sri Lanka and Nepal. Turkey, there's translations going on for Arabic and Hebrew.
How are kids reacting when they hear these stories? How do they react to them? I mean, you must have some interesting stories.
I have a great tale. There's a guy, David Pendleton, who was a House representative in the legislature in Hawaii, one of the few free market guys there, along with Sam Sloan. But anyway, David Pendleton told me that he started reading the story of Jonathan Gullible to his son, who's, I guess, in middle school. And the next day, he got a phone call from the kid's school. And apparently the history teacher had called up and said his son was being reprimanded because he was busy reading another book in the back of the class. So when he got together with his son that night after school, he said, "Well, what are you reading?" He says, "Well, I was reading on in these stories about Jonathan Gullible." And he had to explain to him, "Now, son, you got to do your regular work first before you can have a treat, like studying economics." Well, that's the greatest tribute. But we've had some great response from people in many countries. Valerie Dosick in Serbia was saying that when she had read this, that it was she was learning more about economics than she had from years of study and from all the textbooks.
Right.
And I ask my students time and again, which do you find more interesting, the textbooks or this book? And you invariably, it's this book is much more entertaining as a way of learning economics. And well, I think everybody should.
It's the most successful way to teach anything is through stories. I mean, we see that, of course, in religion. You teach about religious principles through stories, and that's the way to reach people. What about a movie? What about animation? What about
we have a screenplay that has been. There are two guys who are agents who are now busy trying to find a producer for it. We don't have one yet, but we're looking for that. We certainly would like that.
So this would be with actors?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be a regular movie.
Right.
And we would, I think the people, Stossel in the classroom had talked about, the ideas in their mind of setting this to animation for the classroom.
It seems to me like animation, little cartoons, would really work. Cartoons for this, from the stories you're telling me, it really seems like it would lend itself to animation. really in a fun way.
Most people say to me, "Oh, this is just for kids," and sort of they kind of dismiss it, or maybe they think they'll give it to their infant for a gift. But it started off on radio at an all-news business station for the business community, and they loved it. They laughed about it. They remembered what the stories were about. They saw instantly how it related to the things in their own life without feeling threatened by, hammering somebody over the head with a free market idea.
And then also the term free market has been abused by so many people. We hear politicians using the term free market to describe taking something that was paid for through the taxes, a business, some kind of industry that was paid for by the taxpayers, and then giving it away to their friends in the who've given a lot of money to their campaigns. They call it privatization, or it's in the free market. Which it's not. It's corporate welfare.
Right.
So that term is a good term, but it gets abused. I think that George Bush referred to Halliburton as not Halliburton, to Enron as the free market, and what's wrong? You don't like the free market? Well, that's the free market, and of course they weren't the free market at all. Enron was a corporate welfare entity.
Big time.
So you have these terms like free market, privatization, things that this organization you were referring to, the International Society for Individual Liberty, started using, and those have been picked up by some people and used to describe other things. So I hear people get nervous about those terms when I use them sometimes. Are there some better terms that you can think of for those things that we should be using now?
I mean, that's why I always say the word free market, because it's the least loaded of a lot of other terms. Friends of mine will use the term capitalism, but I prefer not to. I think that was originated actually by Karl Marx, if I'm not mistaken, as intended to be a degrading
these
term.
are getting to be like words that have been tarnished, so to speak.
And the term liberal was stolen from the classical liberals, who were really free market people. And so in this country, in other countries of Europe, liberal still has the connotation of classical liberal or libertarian. I
always use the term, I would like to see a more liberal economy. And that usually works because there's a lot of people understand that means free. And it also means that I'm not a conservative saying that I'm for this kind of economy, corporate welfare economy, rather than that. So it's tricky. It's difficult to communicate, and that's what I like so much about these stories, is that they're free of all of these. Oh, you're a left winger. Oh, you're a right winger. I'm not going to listen to you. Whichever your prejudice is. But thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks a lot.
It's been a
really
wonderful delight. And for those of you out there that would like to learn more, please go to jonathangullible.com, or any more about the Libertarian Party, please go to www.lp.org or give us a call at 1-800-ELECT-US, and we'll send you out a free packet of information. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on the Libertarian Alternative. Thanks.
Thanks again.